I've lived over a century on this earth, and I'm going to share 3 lessons that completely changed how I see everything. And the last one will give you chills. My name is Ernest. I've been alive for over 103 years. I was born before most of the modern world existed, before television, before computers, before the internet. I've seen everything change, and in all that time, I've learned 3 lessons that didn't just make me wiser. They made me feel something deeper, something that stopped me in my tracks and made me see the world completely differently. These aren't the usual lessons about working hard or being kind. Everyone knows those. These are the lessons that hit me in the chest. That made me feel awe. That made me understand something so big and so true that it changed everything. I need to share these with you because most people go their whole lives without learning them. They die without ever feeling this depth, without ever seeing what I'm about to show you. And that's a tragedy. Let me tell you the 3 lessons that will make you feel awe. Lesson 1. Everything you think is permanent is temporary. And everything you think is temporary is all you really have. I learned this when I was much younger. I'd built what I thought was a permanent life, had a career I'd worked decades to build, had a house, had a routine, had relationships I thought would last forever, had possessions I thought mattered, had a whole world I believed was solid and unchanging. Then my wife died. Suddenly, stroke. One day she was there, next day she was gone, and in an instant my permanent life shattered. The house felt empty. The career meant nothing. The possessions were just stuff. Everything I thought was solid turned out to be smoke. And I fell apart, spent months in this fog of grief and confusion. Everything I'd built my life on was gone. What was I supposed to do? What was the point of anything if it could all disappear? Then one morning I was sitting in my workshop. Sun was coming through the window, and I watched dust particles floating in the light. Just a simple moment, dust dancing, sun shining. And I felt this wave of something, not happiness exactly, something bigger. I realized that this moment, this simple temporary moment, was real. The dust would settle in seconds, the sun would move, the moment would end. But right now it was here. It was real. It was mine. And I understood. Everything I thought was permanent, my career, my marriage, my whole life, that was all temporary. All of it would end eventually. But this moment, this temporary fleeting moment, this was what I actually had. This was real. We spend our whole lives trying to build permanent things, permanent careers, permanent relationships, permanent security. And we think once we have those things, we'll be happy, we'll be safe, we'll be done. But nothing is permanent. Everything ends. Your job ends. Your relationships end. Your life ends. None of it lasts. The only thing that's real is the temporary moment you're in right now. This second, this breath, this experience. That's all you ever have, and it's enough. It's everything. When I understood this, really understood it, I felt awe. This huge feeling of seeing something true, something bigger than me. I stopped trying to build permanent things and started living in temporary moments, and everything changed. Lesson 2. You are not the main character of the story, and that's the most freeing thing you'll ever realize. I spent most of my life thinking everything was about me, my problems, my achievements, my work, my reputation, my life. I was the center of my world. Everyone else was supporting cast. When something went wrong, I took it personally. When someone didn't respect me, I was angry. When I failed at something, I felt like the world was ending, because I thought it all revolved around me. Then I got old, really old, and I started losing people. Friends died, colleagues died, people I'd known my whole life just gone. And the world kept going, didn't stop, didn't even slow down. I remember when my best friend Frank died. We'd been friends since we were young men, served in the war together, built our careers in the same town. He was huge in my life, and when he died, I thought everything would change. The world would acknowledge this massive loss. But it didn't. The sun came up the next day. People went to work. Life continued. Frank's death was everything to me and his family. But to the rest of the world, it was nothing. Just another person gone. And I realized I'm the same. When I die, and it'll be soon, the world will keep going. Most people won't notice, won't care. My death will be huge to the few people who love me. But to everyone else, it'll be nothing. And instead of making me feel small or sad, this made me feel free. Because if I'm not the main character, if the world doesn't revolve around me, then I don't have to carry that weight anymore. All those times I felt embarrassed or ashamed or worried about what people thought. Wasted energy. Because nobody was thinking about me that much. They were all busy being the main characters of their own stories. All those times I felt devastated by failure or rejection. Unnecessary pain. Because in the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter. The world kept turning. Realizing you're not the main character doesn't make you less important. It makes you free. Free to mess up without it being a tragedy. Free to be yourself without worrying about the audience. Free to live without the pressure of thinking everything depends on you. I felt awe when I understood this huge relief, this sense of being part of something bigger, instead of trying to be the center of everything. Lesson 3. The thing you're most afraid of is the thing you most need to face. And on the other side of that fear is everything you've been looking for. This is the big one, the one that changed everything. I was afraid of looking weak my whole life, terrified of it. That's why I never asked for help, why I always handled everything myself, why I never showed emotion or admitted I was struggling. I was running from vulnerability, from appearing less than strong, from letting anyone see me as anything but capable and in control. Then I got sick, real sick, cancer, and I couldn't handle it alone anymore. Needed help, needed people, had to ask, had to admit I couldn't do it by myself. And at first, it was terrible. Everything I'd feared felt weak, felt diminished, felt like less of a man, like I'd failed somehow. But I didn't have a choice. I was sick, so I had to face it, had to ask for help, had to let people see me vulnerable. And slowly something changed. Asking for help didn't make me weak. It made me human. Showing vulnerability didn't make people respect me less. It made them connect with me more. Being honest about my struggles didn't diminish me. It freed me. I found out who I actually was without the armor. Found out what actually mattered without the need to appear strong all the time. Found out that real strength isn't never needing anyone. Real strength is being honest about when you do. Everything I'd been running from my whole life turned out to be everything I needed. The fear was protecting the very thing I was looking for: connection, authenticity, real relationships based on truth instead of performance. It was all on the other side of the fear, and I felt awe, this overwhelming sense of having discovered something profound, that the thing we fear most is usually the doorway to what we need most. Think about your biggest fear. Really think about it. What are you avoiding? What are you running from? What scares you so much you've built your whole life around not facing it? That's probably exactly what you need to face. That's probably where your freedom is, your growth, your truth. Everything you've been searching for is likely on the other side of that fear. These 3 lessons. Everything permanent is temporary, and everything temporary is all you have. You're not the main character, and that's freedom. Your biggest fear is hiding your biggest need. These aren't just ideas. These are truths I learned by living over a century, by watching the world change, by losing everything, by facing everything, by surviving long enough to see clearly. And they fill me with awe, this sense of seeing something bigger than myself, something true and beautiful and terrifying, something that makes me feel small and huge at the same time. I'm over 103 years old. I've lived longer than most people get to live. And these 3 lessons are what I want to leave behind. What I want you to understand before you waste decades learning them the hard way like I did. Live in the moment because it's all you have. Stop being the main character because freedom is better than importance. Face your fears because everything you want is on the other side. That's it. That's what 103 years taught me. And I hope it makes you feel what I felt when I learned them. That sense of awe. That sense of seeing something real and true and bigger than yourself. Subscribe if these lessons hit you the way they hit me.